The Wise Moth Man. This is a new Fallout commander that just made its way into the Magic the Gathering world. And it deals with rad counters. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. And it's also in the correct colors for mill, blue and black. And it also has green. This card is going to put mill on the map, and we made a short about it. And it also spawned some interesting comments. So we're going to talk about those comments in this video. Let's jump right into it. Deepest gratitude to our esteemed patrons that allow us to do this channel full time. We love you so much. We love you, 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 love you a million infinity. All right. Big thanks to our channel sponsors that allow us to do this full time. Card Conduit, best place to sell your cards. If you have a stack of cards that are piling up, we'll just send them on over to Card Conduit. Get rid of those cards. TCG Player, if you are looking to buy cards, it's a robust marketplace with a lot of different sellers. You can find some stuff that works for you. Make sure to use our affiliate link. You can find links to all of our sponsors in the description of the video. Shout out to Dragon Shield as well. Best way to protect your sleeves. We've been using Dragon Shield sleeves forever, and we're not going to stop. Also, check out MTG Stocks. They have my favorite charts for the long-term price of cards. If you want to track the price of your cards, make sure to check out MTG Stocks and MTG Stocks Premium to unlock all the features. And finally, Moxfield for organizing your decks. All right, so Joel made a short recently over on YouTube about the Wise Moth Man, a new card that just came out in the Fallout Commander decks, and it spurred a discussion because it's a discussion about mill. Well, I happen to play mill. I have a modern blue-black mill deck that I've been refining for, God, literally years. I saw a conversation on Twitter where someone was like, has anyone seen how Scheming Symmetry pairs up with Archive Trap? And everybody was talking about that when Scheming Symmetry was originally printed. So congratulations to the person that found that, but that's literally been around forever. Scheming Symmetry, shout out to that card. It's a really good commander card. So Wise Mothman has put mill back on the map as far as people are talking about it. And the Wise Mothman seems pretty good. 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black, and 1 other for a 3/3 flyer that when it ETBs or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. When 1 or more non-land cards are milled, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. So this seems pretty fun, right? Seems like a different kind of way to play the game. What is a rad counter? Let's go ahead and talk about that. This is what you get at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. If you have any rad counters, mill that many cards, meaning take the top card of your library, put it into your graveyard. Mill that many cards. For each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter. So you get rad counters, you lose rad counters. That's how it works. You're going to be milling cards. This is very different kind of way to play the game. I'm excited about it as someone who likes mill. Well, on our short, we are going to learn that not everybody likes mill. What kind of strategy is mill? As somebody who has played mill for a long time and has, like, for example, one of my favorite decks is Karavik the Merciless. It's in Commander. It's just a deck filled with tons of enchantments, not much more than enchantments. You're trying to burn people down with just stuff like Sulfuric Vortex and mana barbs and just silly stuff like that. And oftentimes I draw Arch Enemy and I end up being killed because I make the table kind of crazy. And so anyway, I don't lose a lot, or I don't win a lot of games. Mill is kind of the same way. It's a Johnny strategy in that it's cool, it's kind of weird, it's not going to win a lot. A Timmy, for example, there's Timmys, there's Johnnies, and there's Spikes. A Timmy is the kind of player that's going to cast big creatures, dinosaurs, Avengers Zendikar, stuff like that. You have a Spike that is going to play Rakdos Scam in Modern because Rakdos Scam is the best deck, and as soon as they ban Fury from the deck, they're going to move over from Rakdos Scam into Cascading into Rhinos, and it's going to be the best deck. And they have no deck loyalty. They just really want to play whatever is best, and they want to win their games. These are going to be like tournament grinders and that kind of thing. So you have Timmys that like to cast big creatures, you have Spikes that like to win the game, and you have Johnnies that just like to win in a weird way, and they don't expect to win very much. And that's pretty much how I play. And mill is the same kind of way. So when people complain about mill, I'm just like, look, it never wins. And even though you don't like having your cards milled because boo-hoo, your win condition is now in your graveyard, I don't care. It's a different way to play Magic. It shakes up the game, and I think that's good for it. So let's go So let's go over here and talk about some of these comments. Mr. Grovak says the radiation counters are a sweet way to make mill a little less salty. Drawing first makes it feel better, and the fact that it's not just mill, but also causes life loss when it's a non-land card is pretty awesome. Agree. We'll give that a heart. We're over here. We might as well heart some comments while we're here. I'll give it a thumbs up as well. Why not? If my opponent can mill out 3 100 card decks, they deserve the win. Thank you. Do we pin this? Yeah, that's the sentiment. Let's see if anybody else earns the pin. Wolfsbane says, I agree with Maldhound when he said that rad counters are fine as it affects more than just library and graveyard, but the state of the game, as it both makes the wise Mothman bigger and affects the life totals of opponents. Problem with mill in more low to mid power games is that most of the time it makes the game too slow and drags it out. With rad counters, it makes those usually slow games faster. This is a good take. I like this take. Radiation could come back, but I doubt they'll be named rad counters as a specific Fallout term. All right, we're not talking about that. We're talking about people that don't like mill. Landon Oki says, Mothman doesn't want to mill you out. They want to kill you with damage. Rad counters help make your board bigger and little ping damage your opponents. Also mills you on your own main phase so it doesn't get rid of your cards. Right. If you're losing the mill because of rad counters, you don't have a mill problem. You have a life gain problem, and a massive one at that. You can mill me, but please don't exile my graveyard. I mean, you are in the colors to have a Ley Line of the Void, and if you are doing this, I would suggest that you use it. Just saying. Psionic Monk says, as someone who played both mill decks and helped teach people to play, I found the most tilting thing to new players is mill. Something about it. Well, yeah, I would agree with you. Don't teach new people to play Magic with mill. Doesn't make any sense. I guess seeing a fun card in the graveyard is worse. Right. As a former blue-black player, I can confirm it is not fun watching your deck turn upside down and watching the enemy get to play all your cool stuff, so I started playing turn stuff sideways. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Mill isn't for everybody. You do not win a lot. Like, I've played a lot of mill in Modern, and unless you, like, if you get a Scheming Symmetry and 2 Archive Trap, and you're able to get, like, 2 Archive Trap off in one turn, on like a turn 1, and you mill your opponent for 26, is very hard in that situation in Modern for your opponent to come back. But unless you get that nut draw, you are pretty much winning by the skin of your teeth, if at all. If you're complaining about mill, you're too casual. Now here we go. This is where we're gonna have the comments. I'll put a heart on this because they've harvested 23 replies. There is no too casual. There's only what your friend group can agree on. Rule 0 is the law of the land. I personally find mill to be an annoying archetype to play against, like Toxic or Infect or Stacks or Super Friends. No. It is not like playing against Stacks. All for different reasons, but they do bug people. However, if I go into a game knowing I'm playing that kind of game, it's fine. It's all about communication. I do agree with the communication part. I find aggro annoying as an archetype, but I'm not going around telling people I don't want to play against it. Yeah, I mean, aggro is very boring, but I don't tell Gruul players, hey, get with the game, man, and do something a little bit more interesting. It is what it is. You never sat down to a game and said, I don't really want to play aggro this game, because that just makes you a bad communicator. Explaining what you're looking for and what you enjoy is part of Rule 0 and finding a good play group. I mean, this is nitpicking. Oh, man, here I am getting caught up in internet comments. No, I don't say it because I'm not rude or entitled enough to... Okay. I thought there was going to be some good stuff in here, but it just sounds like people are having a... They're showing each other their junk, and they're like, whose junk do you think is more impressive? Mill is just giving your opponents more resources every deck uses their graveyard. I mean, that's a take. If someone's playing something like a Muldrotha or Carador like I play, or a Reanimator type archetype, then yeah, Mill is helping them. The graveyard is the second hand, which is why I do say, bring a Ley Line of the Void. Just keep an Endurance in your deck. There you go as well. Elixir of Immortality comes to mind. See, I'm not scared of them because I always run an Eldrazi. Yes, something like a Kozilek. A mill makes people salty because you spend time putting together this deck and then you don't get to play the cards. Infect makes people salty because you get one poison counter and then they sit there and proliferate it up and you can't do anything about it. Sure, yeah. Mill has always been relevant. You just have to be smart enough for it. I think mill, every single time a new mill card comes out, it's always like, can we get there? and we barely ever do, if ever. This is the Deathless saying, having played several games of Moth Man, I have to say that while mill helps the tech, leaning into mill as a way to win is not a good idea. See, and that probably just comes with experience of playing the deck. I need to get some games with this as well. Mothman made me realize I do not care about casual EDH anymore. Everybody sees a mill commander, and the only thing I see is food chain commander. All right, so talking about some CEDH there. Mill, in my opinion, is a bad mechanic in MTG. 1. Players hate being milled in casual. Non-graveyard decks cannot deal with it usually. 2. It's too easy to mill out opponents. Altar of the Brood, Bruvac, Xander, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and the Casualty mill spell, for example. 3. Worst case, if your Phoenix Petitioner's deck didn't win, you'll have fueled up the graveyard player for a field day and pseudo king making. Not saying mill is the strongest, but it's not a weak mechanic, and it's a top rule 0 discussion before games, just like MLD stacks. I don't agree with this and other strategies. I think it's fine saying, hey, I'm gonna play mill, and if people want to kill you, then they kill you. And other strategies most don't enjoy. I think you might be speaking for yourself here, because I actually really do enjoy mill, and if somebody wanted to bring a different way to play commander to the table, I would welcome it. But this is me as a Johnny player saying this. One card at a time. Whoever's playing mill like this ain't playing it right. I put whole decks into the graveyard, one player at a time. Flipping 18 cards into your graveyard, you still usually do it one at a time. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of go through this, talk through some of these comments. I think mill is a great way to play Magic the Gathering. I think it's super fringe. I think it barely ever wins, and anything that barely ever wins, we don't need to kick it while it's down. I do think some mill decks are very good. I've seen mill absolutely get a blowout. If you get the right cards and you do get like Bruvac and the right couple mill cards, then yeah, you could just win right out. But yeah, I don't think that this card is going to be breaking the game or making anybody have a terrible time. Just lean in. There's a lot of different ways to play Magic the Gathering these days. Don't let it get you down. And you know, this kind of tells me that I need to just do this mill league. I'm going to put 8 Crab together. I already have the deck together, but I'm going to put it online, and we're going to do some modern leagues. I do feel like playing some mill. I would like to see if we could win a league with it. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and we'll see you on the flippity. Goodbye.